Hey, everyone. It is Brenda here for Simplicity, and welcome to What's Up Wednesdays. All right, tonight we are going outer space. We are going out of this world, and we are going to explore some of the new dyes and such from Trinity Stamps. Now, we showed you these new products a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to show you how fun it is to put these together and some really kind of unique ways of using them with some unique products, and just have some fun. So I did a lot of prep work today in terms of die cutting. Not that there was a lot of die cutting with these dies, but I just wanted to have things prepped so that you wouldn't have to watch me glue things together. There'll still be some assembly instructions just so that you're in the know. And we are going to have some fun. Now we're going to have some additional products, and I'll explain them as we go on. This evening, I'll be using some background papers from Simply Stated because these papers are just awesome, right? They are just perfect for doing things with out of this world, space, and such. So we're going to be using that. And I'll show you the dies we'll be using this evening. So this is Tiny Alien. He's so freaking cute. Look at him. So sweet. So we're going to be using him. We're also going to be using this rocket ship. This is called Blast Off. All right, so there is that one. We're going to be using the little astronaut who is super cute when he is done. All right, so there is that. That's what he looks like. And then this one here, which is the space saucer. And I'm going to show you different ways. I'm going to actually show you how to make this into a shaker, all right, which will be really, really cool. So those are the dies we're going to be using. One of the cards, actually it's going to be the first card we're going to do, is we're going to look at the Pear Blossom. Let me just grab it here. All right. Because I know I get lots of people asking about this. We've used them in classes, but I've never really showed them in a live on how to use these. And these are the lights from Pear Blossom Press. I'm going to show you how to do it with that rocket ship today. Really easy to do, has that wow factor. These are really special cards when you make this for the special people in your lives. All right. So we're going to be using those. So let's get started, everyone. All right. So, let me move some stuff out of the way. I want to have things accessible so I can show you things. And let's get going. All right. Like I said, I have prepped. This is what happens when you have like can work from home in the afternoon. So, this is what I had done in Seattle when I visited Trinity Stamps and Pear Blossom Press booth. This is what we did. This was a little make and take. So I wanted to replicate this because I thought this was a really cool sample. So we're going to do that. Now I'm going to light that up. So see the little rocket ship is lighting up. It's ready to take off. And that's where that light is going to come in effect. All right. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Now there are different these lights. This is called the one light. There are different lights from Pear Blossom Press, and that's a whole other live that I will do in the future and talk about the different ones. Their latest one, which is pretty awesome, is a light that is it's got a sensor on it. So if you had the light on like a cake. All right. So say you had a little cupcake stamped or die cut, and you had the candle on there, and you had the press, and you push the button, the light will stay on. And then the recipient, if they put a little breath and try to blow out the candle, it actually goes out. It's really, really cool. But that's a whole other live. We're going to be using the one light because that's what we're going to use this evening. But all right, so we're going to be using that. So we're going to replicate this one. So this is not my design by any means, but we're going to replicate this one slightly. All right. So like I said, I've done some die cutting here. Uh, and each of the cards I'm going to build on the kind of the last card with the how to assemble some of these. So you know what? I just realized I didn't grab any of the inks I wanted to. So you're going to have to bear with me as I grab them. But we're going to put the rocket ship together first, and then we'll work on some of the other elements when we create this card base. All right. So I just took the liberty of just die cutting this. It is a really easy rocket ship to put together. It's not hard at all. It seems like a lot of pieces when you look at it, but honestly, It's easy die cutting. All right. So we've got all the main pieces on here and how to decorate. You have two little windows. You have the circular window and then you have a heart window, which is really cool. We're using the circular one. You're going to have the words have a blast. And then you also have off, which so you can do blast off. Um, and then this kind of curly scalloped. There's two dies here. This is what will do the kind of the blast off smoke. All right. So you just layer them in, and they're two separate pieces. And you just layer them on your paper, so you kind of create this triangle between the two of them. And the reason why they're two different pieces or two separate pieces is that you can fit them on different size cards. All right, which is awesome. If they did it as one, then you would be limited to sizing. So I'm glad they did the two, but you just lay them on your card panel, and then where the straight edges are right here, you are just going to create kind of a triangle, because that is where the rocket ship is going to lay on top. And that's where the exhaust smoke is going to come from. All right, so that's that. All right, so let's put this together. So I'm going to make this one very similar to the sample that's here. I kind of chose the same colors because, they're teal and I love teal. So this is the base. All right. So then we're going to put the little window on. And I just cut this, the windows and kind of the accessories for this out of a silver metallic paper or mirrored paper, because it just makes it that much special. All right, my glue was giving me a hard time there. Lid didn't want to come off. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and, oh, maybe we're not going to go ahead and glue this. All right, yes, we are. All right, here we go. All right, so we're going to do the window first, and we're just going to kind of put that in the top section of that rocket. I'm going to center it left to right, and that's going to go down. All right, easy peasy. Then we have what we call the window itself. All right, that's the window frame. This is the window. Now I cut this out of, actually, you know what? I did cut this out of pearlescent vellum. I cut it out of regular vellum, but then I thought, no, we need pearlescent vellum. So this is pearlescent vellum. Now this vellum, as well as the vellum that we're going to be using for the fire, the rocket fire, came from Pear Blossom Press. They did this wonderful package. There's 45 sheets in here, and there's all different colors, and I think you get 5 sheets of 9 colors. I think that's what it works out to. Some of them are pearlescent, some of them are flat, but that's where this pearlescent kind of white came from. And I thought that was perfect for using for inside the window. So I'm just going to glue that in. All right, so now we've got our little window there. All right, then we got the top of the rocket, which is this little guy here. And again, I cut it out of metallic just to make it sparkle and shine. All right, so that just gets layered on top. Now, what I love about their packaging is that on the back side, there's always a color photograph of them. So if you get mixed up and are unsure where pieces go, you have that color picture in the back, which is awesome. All right, this is a little trim. And again, I cut this out of metallic or mirrored paper, and everything just kind of fits in where it goes. All right, so there's no real guesswork. I think this is like kind of perfect for little boy cards, even masculine cards. I just think it's fun, and especially when you put the light with it. All right, so all right, this is the kind of the little landing gear, as I call them. I don't know if that's the correct terminology for it, but this one here is the center one, and then we have the two sides. All right, so we got the left side and the right side. So these just kind of go on the right and left. There's like these little, almost like they look like little tabs. That's where I'm putting the adhesive. And then I'm just sticking that down. All right, so there's our rocket. I mean, that was easy. Okay, so there is our rocket. I'm going to bring that up to the camera. How cute, super sweet. All right, now I'm going to get the rocket fire. All right, so there's 3 layers for this one. Do you need all 3 layers? No, you do not, but having the 3 layers makes it quite fun. All right, so I'm just going to bring the picture back, and you can see they've done kind of an orange, a mustard color, and then a lighter yellow to create the fire. We've done red, a gold pearlescent vellum, and then the kind of clear vellum. And the reason why we're using vellum is because we're using that light. All right, you don't need to use vellum, But because we're putting a light on here, vellum has got some kind of transparency to it, so it's going to shine that light nicely. All right, you will still get some light up action if you used regular cardstock. It just wouldn't be as bright or would not shine through your vellum. So I'm just layering these little pieces together to create the rocket fire. All right, so there it is. And then we're just going to glue this underneath the rocket right now. So I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive on the top edge. And then I'm just going to put that right behind, just at the bottom of the rocket. All right, so it's just a little bit of that just that's glued onto the rocket. Oops, I was trying to adjust it and it was already tacked down. All right, so there is our rocket. All right, super fun. Okay, let's go with the background now. All right, so let the glue dry on that. Let's get to the fun stuff in terms of making our background, our night sky and such. So we're going to change it up from my actual original here. What they had us, these are actually little sequins that we glued on. It almost looks like they've been foiled on, but they're actually sequins. We're just going to splatter this. So I'm going to use some Dina Walkley gloss spray in the white. And I'm just going to splatter this. Actually, I might use some gold as well. All right, so I'm just going to splatter this, and this is just going to make that kind of space sky. And the splatters are going everywhere but my black paper. Okay, so there is my first layer of splatters. You know what? Let's add some blue because we can. All right, and then I also have some gold. Now, bear with me. This here is in a little container because it was a class sample. So I'm just going to open this up very carefully. Ooh, there we go. Pop goes the weasel. And then I'm just going to pick up a paintbrush and then I'm going to splatter this on. And this is all gloss spray from Dina Walkley. I like this spray. I never use it as a spray, but it's because it dries glossy. And that's what makes it so unique. Sorry, I just want to clean this off. Because I used a paintbrush, if it dries on there and I don't clean it off, it will become hard and crusty, and we don't want that. Okay, so there's my sky. I'm going to give that a few seconds just to dry. It dries fairly quickly. All right, and then we are going to go on to our little exhaust smoke. All right, so I cut this out as a light gray. All right, this is called Fog from Spellbinders. It may look white on camera, but it actually is a very light gray. And what I want to do is I'm going to come in with some white ink. I just have to grab that and just put that around the edges. All right, I have Brilliance white ink here. I also had the Lawn Fawn white ink, but I thought this would be nice because it has a shimmer to it. Now I'm using these little pouncers, and I don't know which one is my white one. Not that one, I don't think. These are not what I would normally use, but I know I have a white one here. Yeah, I think this is the white one. I would normally use a finger dauber, but I don't have one that's dedicated to white at this point. So I'm just going to use this, and let's see if this is actually going to show. Yeah, it's going to show up. I don't know if the camera's going to pick up on that, but there is a shimmer of white on the edge there. Lighting is not the best in my studio here, so I'm just going to go kind of around the edges with this, and it's just going to give it a bit of a shimmer of white on the edges. Like I said, that cardstock is a very pale gray. It probably looks white to you. Okay, that is done. All right, now let's have some fun right now. All right. So we're going to go ahead and adhere this down onto my panel here. Not everything is completely dry, but I will be careful. All right. So I've just cut this the same width as my panel, and this is going to go down flat. All right. So I'm just going to line this up. Oopsie. Now it looks like nothing right now, but once we put that rocket on there, it will it will actually look like that exhaust smoke. All right. So there is that. Okay, so let me get my rocket and let's work on this little light now. Let's talk about these lights. All right, so there's different ways you can buy these lights. You can buy them in 2 packs or 5 packs, depending on there. And these are those cards that are special. All right, you're not going to give these cards to just anyone. All right, you because you're paying for the light and all that. Um, so in the 2 pack, you will get 2 lights and 2 batteries. All right. All right. So here is the lights. They will not work until the battery is in there. All right. So all you need to do is snap those apart to become separate. All right. So we only need one right now. So I'm just going to put the other one to the side. All right. And then we have the batteries. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and this is always a struggle for me is opening these up. Oh, that came out already. All right. So um, before I put the battery in, this is a little push button. All right, that's what's going to light up. This actually, this little yellow spot, that is the actual light. All right, and it's super bright. All right, and then your battery will just slide in. So you want to say, you can see that the plus sign is on there, and you want to make sure your battery is plus side up, and you're just going to slide that in until it won't go no more. And then you are going to push the button and you're not going to look at the light, all right? Because you can see how bright that is. It is super bright. All right. So there is that. All right. So what we want to do now is we want to kind of dry fit everything together. All right. Um, I don't think these are adhesive backed. I always forget because in the class they always put adhesive on the back. No. No. Okay. So you want to just put everything in place. So again, we want to have the light at the bottom because that is where the light from the rocket fire is happening. But we want to make sure that this is pushed up enough that everything is kind of hidden behind the rocket. All right. So once you have it in place, all right, that works. There we go. All right. So we want that light kind of right behind that rocket. Now, normally I would use my little stamp. I have a stamp from Pear Blossom. All right. If you go on our website, look under Pear Blossom, they have a wonderful stamp and die set that's got push and pull and all this stuff. I can't find mine. But I will put it on. But you want to stamp that onto your rocket ship so that the recipient knows to push that. All right. So once you have that in place, all right, get an idea. If you want to mark it with a pencil, it's always a good idea to do so you know where to line it up. So I'm just going to grab a pencil here and just put a little line here. And then you're going to put adhesive on the back of this. Now, I do recommend a strong double-sided adhesive. So the Suquang or Be Creative tape is going to be sufficient. You can also do red line tape. And you're just going to put this on the back side. And I'm going to do three lengths of this on there. Okay. And then you're going to take the backings off. I just like filed my nails all down. So now I got like hardly any nails to grab anything. Okay. Again, when you position this, you want to make sure that light is at the bottom, and I have my little guide mark, and I'm just going to center it on there. All right. Again, if you don't get it in the perfect place, it's fine as long as you're close. All right. It's stuck down. It's stuck down. All right. Again, I'm going to just light that up. You can see that it's going to light up. Okay. So there is my battery for my rocket. All right. Now, somehow I got splatter on here. See? Everywhere but my background. All right, so now what we need to do is we're going to pop this up, all right? Because we have that battery there, so we got to pop it up, but we have to be mindful of where we put the foam adhesives. Okay, mine are all stuck together here. Okay, so I'm going to put one kind of on the landing gear on the left and right. And then the rest of it's all going to be kind of on the top. That's going to leave this area for where the battery is. And it should not affect that. And of course, I'm going to put extra pop dots because you know me, I like my foam adhesives. All right, so that's going to be enough to raise it up. We're going to take the backings off. Okay, and now we're going to line this up so that our rocket is right over our light there. Okay, and now I know where the button is, and now we can push that, and that is lit up. How fun is that? Taking off, blasting off. So what I will do when I find my stamp set, I will do a little, I'll put the push on there as a little rectangle on there so the recipient knows to push that. All right, let's just finish this off really quick. I just cut out the words blast off out of that same metallic paper, and that comes with the die. All right, so we're going to just put this at the bottom here. I love the font of this. All right, so blast is two die, well, cut out as, it's one die cut, but it comes out as two. The letter B is separate from the rest of the word. So you got B and then last. All right, so we're just going to, actually, I'm going to change that B just a little bit, the angle of it. All right, and then the same thing with off, you have of, and then an extra F. And I love this font because it's playful and you don't have to worry about it being super straight, but there we go, blast off, our little rocket ship taking off. And then I will actually mount this onto a colored piece of cardstock. And then on my card base, but how fun is that? Super fun, right? All right, so that's the rocket ship. Those are lights kind of in a nutshell. And just how fun is that, right? How fun is that? Okay, I'm going to put that to the side and let's move on because I have big expectations this evening. Let me just tidy this up. We're going to move on to the next one. All right, let's go into our next container here, my little notes here. Okay, so this one here, what are we doing in this one? Oh, this one's fun. Okay, so this is going to be the alien and the astronaut, all right? So, and I'm going to be using some of the lovely paper from Simply Stated. That says this one with, I'm going to say it's Earth in the background. It could be a moon. I don't know. But we're going to create a card base with this. All right. So let's put our little astronaut together. All right. So this is the die for the astronaut. All right. I know that it looks like a lot of pieces, but he's really easy to put together. Okay. So I've taken the liberty of just die cutting everything and we're just going to piece it together. So I'm going to start with his little helmet here. Okay. I cut him out of, the base is out of a light gray. His helmet is out of white. All right, so we get that bit of contrast there. And everything kind of just fits in place. It's really simple to do. All right, so there is that. Then we're going to put his kind of his shield for his helmet. And we did that in black. So I'm going to fit that in just like a puzzle piece. All right, so there is that. All right, then he has his two boots. All right, so we've got his moon boots we're going to put on, and I cut them out of dark gray. And again, they just fit right in place. All right, you're just layering them on top. Uh-oh, where's his other boot? Oh, there it is, hiding. Got worried there. All right, so there's his little moon boots. All right, then we got to put his little gloves on. And again, I did them in the dark gray, so I'm just going to put some glue down on here and just layer them on. Really simple to do. Looks like he's waving hello. All right, so there is, see how, like, he's so sweet, right? All right, so then he's got a little belt, and I could just cut that out of blue. Needed a little pop of color. All right, so then this, oh, you know what? Before I put that on, I did this. Okay, we've got to put his little, this little piece here. I don't know. I'm not no space person. I'm not no astronaut, but I'm thinking this is his like little oxygen pack that's on his back. So we've got this little kind of shadow of, or a little bit of it. I'm just going to bring it back. You can see it on there, his little backpack, whatever. It's easier if you put that on first and then his belt. All right. I told myself, do that first, and I still forgot. All right, and then this now you will find that it will just kind of layer in between that little deboss line where his arm is on the right-hand side and his little backpack. All right, so there is that. And then I kid you not, guys, I was like, ugh. He's got the little, I don't know what you want to call it, but his little belt, all right? His little computer system on his belt. That's what I'm going to call it. So, you have the little squares to go with it, and then you've got the little doodads here. Now, I was not going to cut those doodads and glue them all on there. So what I did is I cut the bigger of the belt, the little thing, and then I just centered my little doodads on here best I could so that I could get them cut out. Instead of gluing them together, I'm just going to use the negative. I thought that was the easier way. However, the little doodad die is a little bit bigger because it's meant to, you take those little pieces and glue them on, but that was just too much for me. So I just centered it on and a little rectangle here, and there it is, right? So now it looks a little bit better, and that's going to go on his little belt here. I have patience, but sometimes, all right, so we're just going to go ahead and put that on. And there is our little astronaut. How super sweet is that? I'm loving this set. I wish that I had more dies like this when my son was growing up, because I think these are great additions, not only for cards, but in your layouts as well. All right, so we didn't have fun things like this. All right, so that's the alien, that's the astronaut. Now we're gonna put the alien together. This guy is so easy to put together. So there's his head, his body. This linear piece is his smile, and then you have his whites of his eyes, and then his eyeballs. All right. So really simple together, put together. You've got a little hump on his neck there. You're going to put a little bit of adhesive there. You're going to take his head and you are going to put that on. And you can, tilt his head a little bit, put it on straight, but there he is. Super easy. All right, I'm going to put the smile on. Now I did cut out his eyes, but then I got thinking, and I got to find out if Spellbinder still has these. Spellbinders came out with a monster collection a while ago. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, I can't remember. But they had these great epoxy eyeballs, and I had some in my stash. What did I do with them now? Oh, they're there. All right, so these are the monster eyes. And I'm going to find out if they have more because I think these are perfect for these kind of critters. All right, I'm going to use these instead of using the die cut eyeballs. But honestly, you have the white, and then I just cut the other ones into black, and you're going to layer them on, and that's going to give you your eyeball. But I thought these epoxy ones would be fun, so let's use them. And I will double check to make sure that we can still get these ones. So let's go with, okay, I don't have, all right, I'm going to go with these ones because I don't have, oh yeah, these are fun. All right. Good choice, Brenda. Good choice. That makes it so much easier to do. No gluing, just stick. All right, there's my little guy. If that doesn't make you smile, then I don't know. Super fun. Okay, so we have our astronaut and we have our alien now, and we are ready to make a card with this now. All right, let me just move some stuff out of the way. Okay, so this is my panel here. And what I wanted to do is kind of mimic kind of that they're on the moon at the bottom here. So this was my kind of leftover pearlescent vellum. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut this down first to an A2 panel. All right. So I'm going to cut this to 4 and 5 1/4. Actually, I think I might cut a little bit from the top. Okay, so I've just made this into a 4 by 5 1/4. I will mount this on a colored base and then onto my card front. All right, so this will do an A2. I won't throw these away because that's just great paper. All right. Okay, so here's, I don't even know if this is going to work, but here's my idea. This is pearlescent vellum, and I thought it would make a good kind of moon type of thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take my pair of scissors and I'm just going to do a rounded linear kind of hill. I'm going to make a hill. Doesn't need to be perfect. All right. So this is going to be my moon. All right. I'll trim off the excess in a bit. All right. There is my moon surface. But I wanted to mimic craters. I don't know if this is going to work, but so I took a circle punch and I cut some circles out, and I'm going to kind of just layer them down underneath my little panel here. All right. So just bear with me, guys. I'm just going to glue. I probably should have vellum tape, not glue, but it's okay. Okay. Okay, so this is I'm going to lay this on top, and see, now we've got them shining through like little craters. All right. And then these little guys, these little rings, these were from the rocket ship. All right. So remember the window. All right. We just needed the inside piece for the rocket ship of the vellum. So I saved those rings, and now we're going to use them as part of our craters. So I'm just going to trim them kind of off here, and now we're going to glue them. I don't know. I hope this like will look decent when it's all done. It made sense in my head. Okay, so now we just got these different kind of circular to make craters. All right, so you guys can be honest as well, and if you think it looks like crap, you can tell me. I'm uh I think we're okay. We do sell vellum tape. So here's the thing about vellum tape. Nothing is the perfect thing for vellum, honestly. So vellum tape, it depends on what surfaces you are using, but for the most part, it will work on most surfaces. You'll get the odd surface, then when you use the vellum tape on the vellum, it will still show. I mean, there's nothing that is perfect, but it is probably the best thing you can use. So it is done by Scrapbook Adhesives, and it is purple. The container is purple. All right. So for those that frequent our store, you know where the adhesives are, right underneath our counter, and you're going to look for the purple base. I think this one's going to go over here. All right. So I think I achieved that kind of crater look. I think. Oopsie, that one did not glue down. Okay. All right, so now I'm just going to go ahead now and glue this down. Now I'm just going to apply the glue kind of behind these rings so I don't get kind of the glue marks showing through. I'm going to glue this down. Actually, I'm going to bring it down just a little bit, and then I'll trim that. Okay, I think I achieved a kind of a fun crater look. All right, let's trim off the excess. So the Simply Stated printed papers are kind of a unique package. I'm going to bring that out in a second and show you. Not only, they're all 12 by 12 papers on there, but some of them are 6 by 6 in nature. All right, so let me just show you. So this is the 12 by 12 papers, all right? So you can see you get 8 patterns, all right? You can see them there, and those are the 12 by 12s. But then you get 2 additional papers that have the same patterns, but they're 6 by 6. Let me just grab one here. Okay, here's one. So you'll get, so they are 12 by 12, but they're the 6 by 6 patterns, all right? So it's great for card making. However, I'm using this, one of these backgrounds in the next card, but I use the 12 by 12 version of it, all right? So just to show you, but isn't the color spectacular? Love it. Okay, here's my little moon. Did I work? Did it work? I think so. Okay, let's put our little guys on here. So we're going to put our little astronaut and our little alien on there, and then we'll put a nice little saying on there. I don't have a saying right now, but I will find one. And I think I'm going to pop these ones up, and then we'll put them on. I'll put it on a colored background, and then onto a card base, but I'll do that off camera. And you know that I will always take pictures and post them tomorrow morning when they are all completed. All right, so Mr. Astronaut, and then the alien. All right, so there's the astronaut, there's the alien, and they are really cute. All right, so there is that. Okay, so that is card number 2. All right, let's move on. We're going to build up on this, because I forgot to show you. There's one more thing that we're going to do, or one more product that I did not show you. I showed you the rocket ship. I showed you the alien. I showed you the astronaut. We're going to come to the space flying saucer, but there is another one here that is this great stencil. All right. So this is called Space Fog, and it is really cool when it's done. So we're going to do that as a background. I already have my astronaut and my rocket ship ready to go, so you don't have to watch me glue these, but I did want to show you how to use this one. All right. So I'm going to put them to the side, and let me show you this stencil. All right, so you're going to actually have the stencil, all right, and then you're going to also have the masks, all right. So you can use the masks to mask off. You can have lots of fun with this. I'm going to use as a stencil. And all right, I did not pick inks, but I'm going to use my interference inks from Lisa Horton. So I'm just going to line this up like so. And then I'm going to tape it down because I don't want this to move. So first of all, I'm just going to put a little roll behind my paper so that that doesn't move on me. And then I'm going to tape down my stencil. And I am, you know what? I am going to do an ink blended background first. Okay. It's been a while since we've used interference inks. They are very unique. I'm just going to grab some really cool kind of colors here. I've got, so how interference, maybe I should backtrack for those that don't know. Okay, interference inks. These are from Lisa Horton, and they are very unique, all right? So you'll notice that there are 2 colors on the ink label here. On the left-hand side is what will appear on light colored papers, all right? So whites, those very, light colors. All right, so I always like tell people L for left, L for light, all right? That's what's that. And then the color that's on the right-hand side is what's going to appear on dark papers. All right. So it's a 2-for-1 ink, as I call it. All right. So on a light colored paper, when you stamp or ink blend with it, you are going to get that blue color. When you go on a dark paper, you're going to get that purple color. Very cool. And they do have a metallic shimmer to it as well. All right. And hopefully you'll see that come out. So I'm just going to grab a couple of colors here. So I've got one night sky, and although charcoal gold would be cool as well. I think I'm going to go charcoal gold. And why don't we do pumpkin spice as well? And then my favorite, this is going to be quite the dark sky. But to lighten things up, I love using this kind of over top. And you can either use lemon candy or sweet treat. All right. I think I'm going to use sweet treat. I think that's a brighter of the yellow. I like using that because it brightens things up. All right. So let's start. I'm going to do a little bit of peacock shimmer first. So right now I'm just going to do kind of a blended background. Okay. Now, when you use interference inks, I always have separate brushes for my interference inks because they are unique kind of ink. You don't want to mix them with your regular, distress inks or oxide inks. So I do have a separate kind of brush for these ones. All right. So you know me, I got brushes for everything. Okay. So there is that blue. Now let me just grab a piece of black paper just to show you what this color looks like when you do it on black. All right. So you can see purple. All right. Look how beautiful that is. Lovely, right? All right, so I'm just going to blend a little bit of this. Now, the cool thing with interference inks is that as soon as you put the ink on top of like an interference ink again, it kind of reactivates it, all right? So you can get a really nice blend with these ones. So there's that one. And let's go into pumpkin spice. Now, when I choose my color brushes for this, it's always the color that's on the left because that's what the ink is going to look like. So this one here is, it looks orange, right? So I'm going to use my orange brush. And they're quite intense. Oh, my brush is not doing its thing. The inks are quite intense, all right? So you have to work a little bit to get these to blend, all right? So if you are a newbie, all right, you are not going to get the blend that you probably want right away. It all takes practice, all right? So, but it's okay. We're going to layer lots of ink on here, so. And I know I'm shaking the camera. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry. Okay, so there's that one. You know what? I think I need another ink. Let's do the milk chocolate shimmer. Okay. So there's my base color. I know it doesn't look like anything right now, but it will. I promise. I hope. Okay, so there is that. All right, I'm going to grab my stencil now. I feel like I need some pink in here. Okay, we're going to add a little bit of this reddy pink. Oh, yes. Okay. All right, I'm happy with that now. I needed a little bit of pink or something in there. Um, and I think that is good. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to grab my stencil and I am going to just position that. I'm going to be trimming down this panel so it's not too, I don't need to go right to the edges, but um, so now I'm going to tape this down. And I'm going to use my darker color. So I'm going to use that charcoal gold. So what will happen is that we're going to see some of that charcoal color come up on the kind of the lighter tones. And then on the darker tones, we're going to see, my tape is not sticking because there's all ink there. On the darker tones, you're going to see more of that golden hue come through. So all right, so there we go. So the colors will still kind of shine through that's underneath. You'll still get tones and sparkles of them, which makes them really unique. If you've never tried an interference inks, um, my favorite is, like I said, the sweet treat, or the other one, lemon. I just like the yellow of them. But peacock tails is a popular one. But go to tones that you are drawn to. Everyone says, what's your favorite? I'm like, well, my favorite's going to be different from your favorite. All right, so you can kind of see what's happening here. I'm going to do this one in the bottom here. Again, we're going to be trimming this down, so don't worry about that edge. All right, and I'm going to do this one. I probably should have left this one to the very end because it's the messiest, but all right, while I'm blending, I'm going to just check comments here. Oh no, we got no comments. We're good. All right. Okay, so there is my black over top. And I'm going to hold this up to the camera. I know it doesn't look like anything right now, but wait till I put the yellow in there. All right, so you can see the shimmer in there. And I don't think the camera's picking up, but there is a gold hue coming through some of that area, which is really, really cool. Okay, now I'm going to grab my yellow, and now we're going to do Sweet Treat over top of the entire thing. And see how it just brightens up everything? You know, that lovely blue now is more of a tealy green. And now we get kind of this kind of fun little galaxy background. And of course, we're going to splatter this. Okay, so there is our lovely galaxy background. I'm going to bring that up. How fun is that? Okay, let me clean up my mess here. Let me get some splatters on here. And clean up my hands. Okay, what do I want to do? Let's do white splatters to begin with. I should be wearing an apron. I honestly. Okay, we're gonna do that. And let's do, I like the blue splatters on there too, so let's do them. And then I'm gonna also spray this with a shimmer spray because I'm addicted to the stuff and I love it. All right, this is, all right. Okay, I'm just gonna put that to the side. I'm gonna clean up my mess. And I'll just let that dry for a second, then I'm gonna put the shimmer spray on. So let me just clean up my brushes here. What a mess I have. get rid of these. I'll clean my stencil afterwards. To clean the stencil with the interference inks, I just run it underwater, and it should come off nicely. Okay. So this is not completely dry, but it's getting there. But look how beautiful that background is. All right, so I'm going to use my Lindy's. Ooh, do I want to use that one? No, I want to use the gold one. Okay, so, oh, I got to get, oh, that's fairy fluff. All right, so this one is Pixie Dust. I don't think we have this one in stock. However, we do have, I believe we have the gold of the sheer spray from Imagine Crafts. And if we don't have it in, we are getting it in. So I'm just going to spritz this. Again, I shook it back and forth and I'm going to spray it upright, but I am going to do it off camera. All right, and I just spritzed that, and now it's got a nice gold shimmer on top of the other shimmer. It's also going to react with the inks because it's water-based. Some really fun, interesting stuff is happening there, which I love. Okay, and now we're going to let that dry. Okay, I think I'm going to come back to this card. I'm going to let that dry on its own. Okay, and let's move on to the next one, then we'll get that one finished after, okay? Okay, we got two more to go. How are we doing on time? I got lots to do here. Okay, two more cards, guys. We can do it. Okay, so this one is the flying saucer. All right, so this one is this here. Actually, I'm going to do the other one first, which is still the flying saucer. This one's the less complicated one. All right. All right. So this is the flying saucer. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this as a regular flying saucer. The next one, I'm going to use it as a shaker card. But we're still going to make this into a shaker card as well. But we're going to use the flying saucer as a regular flying saucer, if that makes any sense. All right. So I made my alien. All right. So there's my alien. All right. He's already made. Now the flying saucer is really easy to put together. All right. So we've got all these different pieces here. This is our base piece here. All right. So you're just going to cut that out. Now I cut that out of vellum because the top of it is kind of see-through. That's kind of the glass area. So I cut it out of vellum. So it's got a bit of transparency. All right, so then we just have the different components here. So this is kind of the frame of the, let me flip this around. I don't know what the components of a flying saucer is, but that's kind of the glass dome, all right? So we're gonna go ahead and glue that on. Again, this is really easy to put together. I shouldn't say that. This is my first time ever putting it together, but it looks really easy. All right, so this is just gonna, everything lines up perfectly, which I love. Okay, before I put the frame on, I should have put my little dude in here. So we're gonna put our little alien in there and then put the frame in. All right, so he's in the flying saucer. Okay, there's that. All right, then this is the base. All right, so that's this piece here. Now it does cut the holes in there, and what I've done is I've just taken little scraps of cardstock, little squares, and I just cut little rectangles and place them behind there to mimic little lights. All right, so there is that. And then this is going to get glued to the bottom of the vellum piece. Everything just gets layered on, which is really easy to do. Okay, so now he's in his little flying saucer. All right, and then this is just all trim work, all right? So this is the top of the flying saucer. Now I could have cut this out of metallic, but I just kept it consistent with the black. And this is just the tops. And again, everything lines up perfectly. All right, so there's that. And then these are the trim pieces, all right? So I'm going to start with the one with the holes in it because that's really easy to line up. All right, so this is just going to get lined up right over there. You're going to have a little strip of black at the bottom. Doo -doo. All right, so there's that. So we still got those little lights shining through, which is really cool. All right, the next piece I'm going to do is this long linear piece, and this is going to fit the trim at the very top of that black piece. All right, so it will just fit exact, so easy to line up. And then this final piece will fit in between so that we have a little row of black showing top and bottom. So it just kind of gets centered in between the two. So it gives you that kind of fun textured look. And again, it's going to line up nicely with the sides. If I can get it straight. Not straight at all. Beauty of liquid glue though. All right, we're just going to commit to that. All right, so there is my little flying saucer. Oh, so sweet with a little alien. Okay, so what we're going to do is I want to create a shaker card with this, but this is a totally different product to create shaker cards. We got them in a while ago, and I don't know if I've ever demoed them before, so I thought this would be a good opportunity. And this is a product from Waffle Flour. All right, there are 5 in the pack here, and these measure 4 by 5 1/4. So you want to cut your base paper 4 by 5 1/4. So basically, we're creating a shaker pocket. Um, I love these because I used to make these just out of acetate, but they do all the fun stuff for you. They do the cutting and the scoring. All right, there is a plastic film on here, so we've got to remove that. And that's probably the hardest. Oh, that wasn't so hard. All right. And it's just on the one side. All right, now the score lines here. So the top that had the film on there, you are just going to pull that off, and then on the score lines, you're going to fold them away from you. All right, easy peasy. All right, so now we've created kind of like a little tray. Now I'm going to flip that to the back side. All right, I'm going to open up those little score lines again, and I'm going to get my double-sided tape. This is the easiest to make a shaker card. I love this. All right, and I'm just going to put a length of tape on each of these kind of tabs. So this is what we call a flat shaker. All right, so we've got them on all our tabs now. All right, so now here is the fun part. We're going to take the backings off 3 of the tabs. 3 only. And you'll understand why in a second. Okay, so I have the adhesive backings off. I'm going to take whatever my base paper is going to be. All right, so this is going to be the background. All right, so I'm going to place this inside. All right, face down. You're going to center it as best you can because you can see those little score lines in there. Okay, so I trimmed my paper 4 by 5 1/4. Once you have it centered in, then you're going to take each of those tabs that have the backing removed from the adhesive, and you're going to fold them over to the back side of your paper. All right, so I usually do one side and then I do the opposite, like the one across from it. And I'm using my bone folder to really burnish that so it's good adhesion. All right. Then I'm going to use that other, I'm going to fold over that last one. All right. All right. So now when I flip this over, we have now a shaker pocket. Now, the reason I say you only do 3 sides because you got to leave one side open to put your shaker elements in it. All right. So now, just the nature of the acetate, it gives you kind of that kind of, you can see that it kind of bubbles up a little bit, which is good because it allows for movement for your shaker elements, but it still lays flat. All right. So you don't have to worry about foam tape with these ones. And they come in all different sizes. So this is the 4 1/4. No, 4 by 5 1/4. You can also do the full size panel, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I personally like these ones here because now I can mat it onto my card, like a card, just to have that little border around it. All right, so that's what I like. They have circles and they have slim lines as well. All right, so they're all on our website. Okay, so I'm going to use this lovely little shaker mix. This is from Buttons Galore and More. This is called the Sparklets. All right, so you're going to have all things sparkle in here. And this is called Sailor Sky. I'm sorry, this is the last one that I had on my shelf, so I took this one, but we will get more. But it's a nice purpley blue mix. It's got stars in there. So I'm just going to, you don't need to have a whole lot. Oh, you know what? I did not do that very well because these stuff is sticking to the adhesive strip on there. I should have poured it the other way. Okay. Doo-doo. Now I made a mess on my desk here. Okay, you don't need a whole lot. Whoopsie. I shook. I must have a hole in here. Do I have a hole in here? No, I do not. I just overshook it, I think. Okay. Get back in there. Okay, so once you have your shaker elements in there, then you can take the adhesive backing off this one and you're going to fold it over. And now you have your shaker panel. How fun is that? All right. Okay, so then I'm going to grab a coordinating color. This is not the color I want. I probably will do, I don't know what I'll do. Well, this works, doesn't it? But it's on for my next card. Maybe I'll grab purple. I'm not sure. But you're just going to glue that on, and that becomes, then you can put that onto your card front. All right. So, but I'm going to take my little alien now, and I'm going to pop him up on here so that he is on there. Now that red and orange doesn't look so great, I might actually fill them in with some of the gems from the shaker mix. But he's going to go on there, and now he looks like he's flying through a galaxy far, far away. All right, so I'm going to pop him up. Because there's vellum as a background, if I put glue or adhesive, it's going to kind of show through. So I'm just going to put pop dots or foam squares kind of behind the kind of larger elements here. I'm going to take this one off here because that will fit there. And then we can stick this on. All right, and then I'll get a nice little cute little saying on there. I'll have to look through my die cuts, but there we go. All right, so there is our shaker panel. Love it. How sweet is that? All right. Okay, so that is the flying saucer. Kind of just on its own, nothing special about it, but let's make it into a shaker. All right. I know this is a shaker, but I mean the actual space saucer is going to be a shaker. Okay. Here we go. All right. So again, I have all the components here. I have my little alien, and I didn't put eyes on him because I want to use those little eye stickers. All right. So this one here, we're going to make this space, the cavity that's in the space saucer dome here is going to be the shaker element. Okay. All right. So I have my base, and then I also cut that same shape out of acetate. All right. Hopefully you can see that. Okay. Okay. Then I also cut the frame in a blue. That's going to be kind of the outside. But these here, now the nature or the width of this here is It's basically 1/8. So when you put your foam adhesive on there, you have to be precise, those foam adhesive strips. So what I did instead, Spellbinders has this wonderful, and you can do this with fun foam as well. This is just foam, all right? So what I did is I cut two of those frames and we're gonna glue these together, and then I'm not even gonna worry about foam tape, all right? So this is gonna be in replace of foam tape. This works great if you have fun foam. We do sell this as well. It comes in black and white in a multi-pack. And it's just a great product to use. It's also great to, raise elements. It die cuts beautifully. So I'm just going to glue two together. One is probably enough, but I was worried that it would not have enough area for the shaker elements because I don't know. It's not as thick as foam tape. So I cut two and glued it together. And you can glue this together really easy. I mean, you can just see that it went together easy. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue here, and we're going to put the acetate on the top of this. Okay. So with acetate, you kind of want a one-shot deal, all right? It's going to take a little while for the glue to dry, and it will, but you don't want to fuss with it because you don't want glue marks on your acetate. Okay, so that worked out quite well. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my frame now and glue this on the top there, and that's going to finish that off. All right, so that is our kind of our cavity for our shaker elements. Now I'm not going to glue this all down quite yet because we got to put the alien in, but now we have this all ready to go, and we're going to give it that glue some time to set. Sorry, I have to take this off camera and bring it closer to me. All right, we're gonna let that glue set, and then I have to just take a little wet cloth and get some glue marks off of there because it slipped and slides. All right. Okay, in the meantime, I'm gonna grab my little alien here and let's put some little eyes on him. All right, let's put some wonky eyes on him. I like these blue ones here, but I have one big one and one little one. Googly eyes would be another alternative for this as well, but I really like these ones from Spellbinders. Oh, he looks cute with the big eye and the little eye. Haha, look how fun that is. Sorry, I'm just making sure everything is lined up here. I think when I put it down, I shifted a little bit. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead. What do I want to put this guy in? And let me see, we need to bring him down a little bit. So let's glue him in. Okay. Oh, I was gonna, okay. So now I want to make sure he's down. We're gonna put the shaker elements on now in. So for this here, I'm just going to kind of do a little pile right on top of him in the center. I might take some of the thicker elements out. There's some thicker gemstones in here, which are quite large. So I might just take them out. You don't need a whole lot of shaker elements in here. Okay, I think I got the big ones out. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this now on top of it. All right, so. Now my glue is not fully set yet, so I'm going to be very careful. We don't want that to shift. Once that glue dries, it's not going to go anywhere, but because I don't have the time to have it dry completely, I guess I should have started with this sooner. All right, so there is that. Honestly, this is going to look so much better, guys, when I get all the components on, all right? So there's that. Now let's build the little bit up here. Now, I should have put some foam squares underneath that acetate, so I'm just going to slip some behind and hope for the best that these are thick enough just to hold it in place. You're not going to see that because that's going to be that's enough for there. This is going to go on top, so we're going to cover that right up. All right. All right. So again, this has got the little holes in there, and I'm going to actually probably take little gemstones to put. Well, you know what? Let's put red lights behind it. I did grab this. So this is just an easy way. I'm going to color them all red. So this is just a strip of cardstock. And then I'm just going to put some glue behind here and then just take the strip and just cover right over the holes, and then whatever excess I have, I just trim off. Just gonna take a pair of scissors, trim, trim, and now we've got those lights. Now they're red. All right. Okay, this is gonna get now glued on to the base, and the base is acetate. All right, so I know you can't see it, but it's there. So we're just gonna use that as a guideline. Okay, so there is the base. How cute. Okay, now we're gonna put the different layers on. Now I went a little fun with some of the layers on here. And I cut them out of because I grabbed my regular foam, then I found my glitter foam, and I thought, how cute would that be now to do some glitter foam accents on here? So all the little details now are going to be from glitter foam. So this is the top of the flying saucer. Again, we're kind of gluing on that acetate, so we just want it to place it and leave it. Okay, then the bottom, we're going to start with the one with the hole. So I cut this out of blue glitter foam, and this is all from Spellbinders. And it die cuts beautifully. I mean, those little circles die cut beautifully. All right, so this is going to get lined up. Okay, then I'm going to grab the top piece that's going to go on here. And I did that out of blue as well. All right, once it's in place, then just leave it be. Make my blue piece down here, shift it a little. There we go. And then the middle piece I did as a gold. All right. Oops, see, you gotta. And then this is going to fit in. And then we're just gonna have a hint of gray on the top and bottom. And then this little piece here is kind of the highlight for the glass here. So I just cut it out of the same color as the frame. And then I'll just place that here. And then I'm going to be very careful, but I'm going to lift this up. I gotta let everything set. All right. But there is our little shaker alien. All right. How sweet is that? Okay. So then I had every intention now to, but I'm going to let this dry. Having them float in space here on one of those pattern papers from Simply Stated. I'm not going to glue it down. I'm going to let all that dry first so it doesn't shift. But there is that. Okay. let me just move these out of the way. And let's go back to that card number 3. We're waiting for the background to dry. All right. Look at how fantastic this background is. Oh my gosh. Oh, beautiful. I love it. All right. So now I think we will make this into well, we're gonna have the astronaut kind of floating in space. Okay, something like this. I didn't grab a string or twine. I wanted to connect the astronaut to the rocket ship, but I can do that afterwards. I'm gonna get them into place. I am gonna trim this down into an A2. All right. So we'll do it 4 by 5 1/4. All right, so there's that. And then I'm going to mount this on, it could be red, it could be black, I don't know, but I will mount it onto a color. And then I thought it would be fun if we put wobbles on these guys. I told you there was lots of fun product tonight. All right, if you've never played with a wobble, these are super fun. All right, so they're like these little plastic springs that make your elements on your card shake, all right? So I always like to take one side off. It really doesn't matter which side. I don't think it matters anyways. I take that off. This is going to be for the rocket ship. Now I probably should have had a bigger one for the rocket ship. These are the mini ones. There's larger ones as well. But we're going to stick that kind of in the middle. And then we're going to peel this off, this backing. Easier said than done. It's only because I'm on camera. The wobbles come in packs of 10. All right, so you're going to take that off, and now we're going to put our little rocket kind of here, and we're going to press down and see now that wobbles. How fun is that? Doo-doo. All right, we're going to do the same thing with our astronaut. Actually, well, he's already stuck on there. So we'll do, I'm going to have him here. I'm going to put a wobble on him, and then I'll use twine of some kind or string to attach them together so it looks like he's floating from the spaceship. All right, so backing off, we're going to put that in the center of our little astronaut. And then take the backing off. And let's stick him on. All right, and now we've got some wobbling action here. How fun is that? All right, and then last but not least, I did cut out the sentiment for this one, so let's put it together. And this says, have a blast, all right? And that's from the rocket dies. So I'm going to start with the have. All right, so there's have, and then our letter A. All right, so there is our little wobbly astronaut and rocket ship on our great galaxy background. How fun is that? Hey there, shaky, shaky. Okay, so let's bring them all out together now. For those that are just joining us to show you what we were really playing with. All right, so this was all about Trinity stamps and the dies that we just got in from their space collection. So we had the alien and the astronaut, the rocket ship, and the flying space saucer. All right, so that's what we played around with. We also had the stencil as well, which is on the floor, so I won't pick that up, but that's what made the galaxy here. All right, and then we made this lovely card. We have our little astronaut and alien on the moon. And then we did our blast off. All right, this is the light up one. All right, let me just go this way so you can see it. The light up one. For those that are just joining us, yes, we used a light in there. And then we have our two shakers. All right, so we made our flying saucer and just shaker, and then we did a shaker flat panel. But there is the space collection from Trinity Stamps. So that's it for me this evening for What's Up Wednesday with Out of This World with Trinity Stamps. I thank you all for watching live and on the rewatch. And they're all available now. They're all on our website. You probably can still find them under new arrivals. If not, you can find them under Trinity Stamps. But super fun for kids of all ages, I think. And I just love that light up one. I love it. I could play with it all evening. All right. So that's it for me, everyone. Thank you so much. Have yourself a wonderful evening, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.